Hi there, Trekkers and Trekkies. So, back in the 90s, Playmates wasn't the only ones saying, hey, let's make figures for Star Trek. There was a company called Applause, and they were like, hey, we should make figures for Star Trek. We'll make them bigger and completely useless. So, that's what we're going to look at today. If I can figure out what I'm doing. This is for Star Trek Generations, Captain Picard. Let me grab the ruler because everybody's going to want to know. Let's see. He's not quite 10 inches, about 9.5, 9.75 inches tall. Actually, it's hard to see. Yeah, about 9.75. He does not move anywhere except for the arms. There's a little bit of movement in the waist, but it makes amazing sounds. The head is stuck exactly where it's at. The sculpt is interesting. It's a sculpt. It sort of says Patrick Stewart. If Patrick Stewart wasn't Patrick Stewart, but that's a thing. So obviously they did figures for Star Trek Generations. They did figures for several different shows and such. Which I've only got a few here. We're going to take a look at the rest of them. Next, we've got Commander Riker, also in the Star Trek Generations uniform. Again, it's just the arms that go up and down. The head is for some reason stuck looking off to the side. Like he's like, Captain, I can't look at you in the eye. What you have done, I can never forgive. Oh. And also, it's because these figures are made of that vinyl plastic stuff, is why they're such a horrible squeak. He is right at 10 inches tall, by the way. So, next is everybody's favorite engineer with a visor and a tricorder. This one, Geordi, actually gets an accessory. Don't know why he gets an accessory. It does not come out of his hand. It is permanently stuck in his hand. The tricorder also does not move. It is permanent part of his face. And only the arms go up and down. And he is about 9.25 inches tall. That's one thing. I suppose it looks like they actually have the scale on these figures pretty accurate. Because LeVar Burton is supposed to, apparently a little bit shorter than Patrick Stewart. Now, the last figure I've got from the Star Trek Generations line is Data. Again, he's looking slightly off to the right. I don't know why. It's the weird choices all across the board. Kind of funny. This Data actually looks a lot like like Fred from the new season of Discovery, who I described as being a bit dollar store Data. Well, I found dollar store Data. Here he is. This one, 9.75, about the same as Picard. And oh, he's not quite as squeaky. That's odd. Androids you'd suspect would be squeakier. Well, guess not. Let's move these folks over here out of the way. We're just going to leave it where their crotch is in camera. I'll have to move him over there. Because I've got two more from Deep Space Nine. No, we'll save you for last, just because we're going to save you for last. From Deep Space Nine, we've got Commander Sisko. Which, here's the thing, he's only about 8 3/4 hair over 3/4 inches tall, making him significantly shorter than Picard. When we all know that Sisko / Avery Brooks was several inches taller. Don't know why, because these came out the exact same year. These are both 94. It says it on the back. It's on the butt of these. It's on the butt of these. And I'm never going to get that to focus, by the way. It's so tiny, and being in that black, it's horrible. But, speaking of dollar store, man, that sculpt is rough. That does not really communicate Avery Brooks at all. Just like the others, it's just the hands, the arms that move, and man, they are stiff. The waist doesn't squeak on him quite as bad. But of the figures that I've got, coming in as possibly the worst sculpt, and honestly, the face is it leaves something to be desired, but it's not, the face isn't the biggest problem. It's what they did to poor Major Kira's neck, which it looks rough from the front. It's a rough thing to look at from the front because she's looking a little giraffe. But when I turn her sideways and you see the way that it's sticking out, it's like, oh man, guys, that was just wrong. That was not fair. Which, the bad thing is the body. This is the details on the rest of it are actually incredible. It's got the quilting on the shoulders. The belt, the boots have the logo on them. It's actually, the rest of it's sculpted incredibly well. And by the way, this one comes in at 8.5 inches. Actually makes her, well, about the same height, I guess, as Sisko here. So yeah, this is some of the applause figures that came out in 1994. I'm not gonna be able to get them all on screen, am I? Maybe if I kind of stack them in a strange way. Dude, looks like they're getting ready to go out for choir. Of course, the fact that they also didn't get the coloring on Sisko's uniform to match, because these are all the same company. It's bizarre to me how completely radically different the Deep Space Nine figures are from the Star Trek Generations figures. I don't know. For the Generations ones, they did also do Worf and Kirk. And for Deep Space Nine, they did Odo and Quark. I'd love to get my hands on Odo and Quark. Wouldn't mind necessarily getting the Kirk one either. But that was all that they did from those particular lines. They never made any Voyager figures, as far as I can tell. In fact, they also never made Troy or Crusher either from Generations. So, various strange choices. But yeah, that has been the Applause figures from 1994. I hope you enjoyed getting to look at how strange these little guys are. And I'm going to put them away because, honestly, they kind of creep me out. Like, would you really want them looking at you from across the room? I wouldn't. I'll see you next time. If you enjoy my videos and want to see more, please like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell icon. If you want to support me, you can find me on Patreon, or go over to Zazzle for prints of my artwork, t-shirts, and other cool stuff. If you're still here, why? Do you want to jam out?